Welcome to the Indie Show.
Yeah. Everybody, welcome to the Cindy Show. She got news, gospel, and a whole lot more. Make sure you hit the like, subscribing button at the door so you can get your drinks and popcorns and enjoy the show. Sit back, relax, and watch the queen speak her mind. She about to go live, so it's about that time. She always speak the truth, never drop no lies. And she always high, bitch, look in her eyes. So, like I said before, hit the like, subscribing at the door. And if you're a hater, you keep that shit on the low. I know y'all been waiting a long time, so here we go. So let me introduce y'all to Miss Indy Show. Miss Indy, Miss Indy, Miss Indy.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so very much for joining me today. You know what? I was strolling around on the internet, and I was looking for something that a friend of mine and I were discussing not too long ago, like a couple of days ago. And this person said that there were over 60 something different types of sexuality. And I was flabbergasted. I was like, what? So I went to the old Googler and I found 11. Now I didn't see the 60, but 11. That's still, I had no idea. And when I'm talking about sexuality, I'm talking about how people identify themselves. I've always thought, for the most part, a person was either straight, they were gay, they were lesbian, or they were bi. I don't think I ever thought outside of that because, I just deal with what I am, right? But it's very interesting to know that all these different type of sexualities do exist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, here we are. Now, we've all heard of lesbian, most of us. Okay, let's see what this is. Broadly and historically speaking, lesbian has been defined as a woman who is attracted to other women. However, Lee Clare notes that people who don't identify as female will still use that label. I know plenty of non-binary people who identify as lesbian. The GLAAD Media Reference Guide defines non-binary as a term used by some people who experience their gender identity and or gender expression as falling outside the categories of man and woman. They may define their gender as falling somewhere in between man and woman, or they may define it as wholly different from these terms. For Pink News, Amy Ashton interviewed 3 individuals who identify as both non-binary and lesbian. I think it's sort of disingenuous to claim that you can't be both non-binary and lesbian, because you can definitely have an authentic lesbian experience as a non-binary person. This is what one of the participants said. Okay. Bisexual. Another term that we've often heard. Let's see what Miss Lee Clare has to say about it. Lee Clare defines bisexuality as an attraction to more than one gender. While the prefix bi means two, Clare said that the modern understanding of bisexuality encompasses attraction to more than just two genders. Clare points to the Bisexual Manifesto of 1990, originally published in the now shuttered Bay Area Bisexual Network's publication, Anything That Moves, as a key document in defining the current usage of bisexual. Bisexuality is a whole fluid identity, child. In fact, don't assume that there are only two genders, the manifesto says. Do not mistake our fluidity for confusion, irresponsibility, or an inability to commit. Do not equate promiscuity, infidelity, or unsafe sexual behavior with bisexuality. Thank you very much. Don't confuse none of that stuff. I never knew all this stuff was going on. Here's another one, pansexual. Pansexuality and bisexuality can often be used interchangeably. Merriam-Webster defines pansexuality as of relating to or categorized by sexual desire or attraction that is not limited to people of a particular gender, identity, or sexual orientation. Identifying as pansexual can sometimes be due to a generational difference, according to Ms. LeClaire, particularly for individuals who began to identify themselves with liking more than two genders before the more modern term came of bisexuality. Some of the people also like to differentiate pansexuality as meaning that you don't really see gender or that doesn't even play even a slight role in your sexual attraction. I think everyone kind of defines that for themselves. That's what Miss Claire had to say. And then we have gay. A lot of us has heard of this term. Let's see what it says. Historically, gay is used for men who are attracted to men. Ms. McClare notes that this term is sometimes used interchangeably with lesbian. GLAAD's media resource glossary says that gay is used to describe people whose enduring physical romance and or emotional attractions are to people of the same sex. The GLAAD guide notes that it is often preferable to call people gay rather than homosexual, which is an outdated term. Okay. Now, this is one I have never heard of. Never heard of it. It's called asexual. Well, that's what I'm going to call it. It could be asexual, but I'm going to say asexual. I've never heard of it. The term asexual broadly refers to someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction or desire for sex. But asexuality itself is, according to Ms. LeClaire, as a spectrum. Okay. Under the catch-all umbrella of asexuality is gray sexual, which refers to someone who falls between the lines of sexual and asexual, according to Ms. Lee LeClaire. Someone who is gray sexual may have conditional sex or have it depend upon the person. Another identity within the asexual umbrella is demisexual, which also refers to the conditional sexual attraction, generally to someone the individual knows very well. You have developed a rapport with them. You've developed maybe like a loving friendship, and you tend to only feel sexual attraction under those conditions. This is what Miss McClare had to say. Allosexual. Never heard of it. Let's get into it. Allosexuality is the converse of asexuality. It means you have sexual attraction and desire sex, according to LeClaire. As LeClaire Lambton reported in Women's Health magazine, the usage of the term allosexual is rooted in the asexual community. It's meant to reframe an assumption of attraction. This term allosexual helps eliminate the idea that being asexual is abnormal. Wow. Heterosexual. We've all heard of this. Heterosexuality is often known as being straight. The LGBTQIA Resource Center at UC Davis defines heterosexuality as a sexual orientation in which a person feels physically and emotionally attracted to people of a gender other than their own. Around 90.1% of regular characters on primetime scripted broadcast in the between 2018 and 2019 season were heterosexual, according to GLAAD Media Institute report. Wow, that just really says something to me. 90% of regular characters on prime time scripted broadcasts between 2018 and 2019 season were heterosexual. Homosexual. We've heard of this one too. Homosexuality broadly refers to gay and lesbian people. However, the LGBTQIA Research Center at UC Davis calls it an outdated term. Historically, homosexuality was a term used to pathologize gay and lesbian people. The GLAAD Media Reference Guide highlights homosexual as a term to avoid. Avoid that term, homosexual. Because of the clinical history of the word homosexual, it is aggressively used by anti-gay extremists to suggest that gay people are somehow diseased or psychologically, emotionally disordered. Notations desecrated by the American Physical Association and the American Psychiatric Association in the 1970s, the guy says. Monosexual. I haven't heard of this one before. Let's see what it says. Monosexuality is attraction to one gender. Lesbian or gay can fall under this category, according to Leclerc. People who identify as exclusively heterosexually, people who identify as exclusively heterosexual can also be considered monosexual as they are attracted to one gender. Okay. Polysexual. Polysexuality means to be attracted to many different types of genders, but not all genders, according to Robinson. Actor Ezra Miller has not identified himself as polysexual, but has discussed being in what he calls a polycule, a group of sexual partners of different genders. I'm trying to find queer beings who understand me as a queer being of the bat, who I make almost a familia connection with. And I feel like I'm married to them 25 lifetimes ago from the moment we met. This is what Miller told Ryan in a Playboy interview. Queer. Queer is a catch-all term that encompasses any identity outside of someone who does not identify as transgender, heterosexual, or allosexual, according to Leclerc. Leclerc said that the usage of queer, however, is very dependent on the person. Not everyone will refer to themselves as queer. The hesitation to use the term queer might be due in part to the age of the person using it. Identity categories are also very generational, Robinson said. Historically, queer has been used as a derogatory word for those within the LGBTQIA community. WNYC's Nancy self-described by its host as a queer podcast, devoted a whole episode to the linguistic evolution of the word queer, from slur to tentative term of empowerment. In 1990, the group Queer Nation was founded by AIDS activists. The usage of the term, historian Amy Sue, I can't say her last name, told WNYC, was meant as a form of reclamation. Wow, wow, wow. I had no idea all this was going on. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool that people can identify and have a chance to identify with what they choose to be. Um, a lot of those terms, yes, we've all heard before, as I said, but all that allosexuality and pan and all the different terms, we really don't want to offend anybody. At least we shouldn't. So, and as we see the society changing so much, even in one of the in part of the article, when it was saying that heterosexual men were, 90% of the leading roles between 2018 and 2019. Things are changing. And whether we like it or not, some may not feel any kind of way about it. Some may be all for it. Regardless of where you stand in it, let's be respectful. So, I don't understand how a lot of people get so in their feelings about who someone's in bed with. And for me, I think that's a lot of the problem. When a person says they're gay, lesbian, LGBTQI, I think that's what it said. No disrespect. But I feel like when people say that a person who identifies themselves as a heterosexual, their mind automatically goes to who that person's in the bed with. Like they're picturing some stuff. Get out of that. It's none of our business. These people do everything the same way that we do. There is no difference. It's none of your business or mine, for that matter, who anybody sleeps with. These are adults making adult decisions. We all have one life to live. And if you try to live your life for someone else, or to walk in someone else's shoes, or to, just you're going to miss out, because we don't get to do this again. For me personally, it does not bother me, honey. People are people. When it comes down to my sexual preference, I have my sexual preference. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be side-eyeing or, someone else if we're in a conversation or whatever, and they say, hey, I'm lesbian, or hey, I'm gay, or hey, I'm this or I'm that. That should go in one ear and out the other. Just like if someone said, hey, I went to the grocery store and got beans and butter, or whatever they went to go get. Why is it such a big deal? I really feel like most people, not all, but when they hear the word gay or anything associated with it, anything other than heterosexual, their mind automatically goes into the thought of that, what that person does in their free time, in their bedroom. And I'm telling you, it's none of your goddamn business. It's none of mine's either. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring this to everybody's attention, chat. Like I said, I had no idea all this was going on. It's wonderful to know. Just like I always say, let's love on each other. And I'll see you all next time. Depression is real.
Okay, Riggs.
Stuck in the same place every year, same time, loneliness, dark thoughts running wild through my mind. I push away, back up, no peace, out of luck, I'm feeling down, reaching up, man, depression hard as fuck. Take a deep breath, that'll slow your heart, man, fuck that shit. None of that work, none of them pills, none of them talks, none of them prayers, none of them walks, none of them groups, none of them blunts. See, I'm saying what some of you motherfuckers want. none of my friends, none of my folks. Yeah, you always see me smiling, but you just don't know. I'm screaming on the inside, please for my pain. Remember that song? Can you stop the rain? Switch out the water with hurt and pain. Year after year, it's the same damn thing. What do I do? What do I do? Where do I go? I speak for so many because we just don't know. We're hearing when you say it'll be fine, but we can't control the thoughts that are in our mind. It's a struggle within. Who's going to win? Who's going down when depression kicks in? It's like, fuck this shit. Fuck this life. Fuck everybody. I'm going to say it twice. Like, fuck this shit. Fuck this life. Fuck everybody. I'ma fight for my life. Go ahead and kiki. Go ahead and giggle. It's all fun and games till your tears are on the pillow. No depression shit. It's real, it ain't a joke. Go and stroll down your phone, man, and check up on your folks. A simple hello. A simple how you doing. Maybe they in a battle for their life and they losing. You never know. Reach out. If we all show love, we can knock depression out. IndependentBaygirl@gmail.com. Hit my line if you can't go on. Positive vibes all day long. Fuck depression is the name of this song. Depression is real, people. If you may be one of the very few people who have never dealt with or went through any type of depression, count your blessings. Count your blessings. But don't forget about the people around you. Who haven't you heard from? Who's gone? It could be nothing. But how do you know that? Let's love on each other just a little bit more. This is Miss Indy. Fuck depression.